Nothing like trying something out that you're pretty sure has a 50% shot of going terrible. That's today's job. Alright, so here is our old electrical room. All the power used to come in here, then get split up to different places around the barn. It is attached to the old part of the barn that we are working at tearing down. The only thing we really need to do is take one of these that's going back to the new part of our old barn that's going to stay, and they're just going to tie it into the whole new electrical system. So that job is tomorrow. They got to dig around here. As you can see, this, over the last decade it's been here, kind of became a milk replacer and mineral storage space. Stores some patio furniture, mostly in the wintertime. Some other random junk. We're going to clean it out, and then we're going to see how much we can cut out, but hopefully have everything still standing. Here I was going to go riding the combine, but my son Cash took my seat. I guess it's not the worst, because instead we're just going to sit in the air conditioning here. Our wheat is mediocre. Not the best crop we've ever grown, but definitely the best price we've ever sold it for. A record by like 50%. So I guess it makes up for a poor, well, not even poor yield, but mediocre yield. This is all the wheat we've got. So a few hours from when we start, we'll be finished up too.
Don't get it dirty.
Nice and shiny.
That's right. We only have the finest equipment.
For us, wheat is really only the warm-up. Like, that's all we had, given that it wasn't the best fall last year to plant any. So, like, in and done in a few hours. But then it's warmed up for the fact now we do straw, which we're working at. Straw on Uncle Mike's farm, actually, that we always buy a field from him, and so we'll bale it. We'll have our own straw to bale. We'll have straw from peat to bale. Hay is down, we've got to bale hay, And that all kind of leads into doing manure, which has to then go out on the wheat ground. Man, wheat is the easy part. Now the other work begins. There's 153 bales, 152 and a half, that we got baled up here at Uncle Mike's on what is just like, it's a really nice night. And I love that like golden yellow spotted bales all across a wheat field, like just looks awesome. But what's even more special about this farm is Uncle Mike also has a very unique crop for this area, and it is a beautiful field of sunflowers. And talk about the right time of year to be in sunflowers. Now for him, he's using this to grow bird seed, Campbell sunflower seed. I can't remember what the bag says, but that's what these will all turn into over the winter, where he'll bag them up. But right now it's pretty cool. Well, that's probably enough admiring. Oh, right here. Whoa, here's the driveway. I've never actually been on this farm before. Never baled here before, but this must be it. All right, now Jeff, this is the brain of the barn. At least it tells me it's the brain of the barn. That's what the alarm comes up. But it's proving to be exactly that, because what we have, and this was our full intention all along, was this Maximus was going to do like a lot of stuff in the barn. Mm-hmm. Basically, the robots were their own thing, and then this was going to run curtains, chimneys, fans, lights, alley scrapers, foot baths, like the list goes on and on.
Okay.
So, it is doing that. I'm learning a few of the things as we go along, but I need a little help in terms of finding a few of them. The one that I've learned the most about is the manure management, because I have found it very easy that when the alley scrapers, when maybe for whatever reason I'm on that side of the barn and want them to turn on or turn off, like I can pull up on my phone and hit clean now, or hit skip if I don't want it to do it because we're running bedding in or something like that.
Yep,
like it's been pretty handy.
Yep.
And then the other one is that like it's also going to alarm me when something's wrong. What are a couple of the alarms that I should be getting for it?
What it's going to be doing is tracking the amperage while it's traveling, right? So it's looking for any kind of obstruction, and if it senses a higher amperage than it should, it's going to shut off. So if it bumps into a cow, if it finds a rough spot on the concrete, it's going to try, it'll stop, it'll back up, it'll restart again, right? And you can set it to go a couple times like that. If it can't get past that in its certain programming, then it will stop and it will alarm you and tell you to come have a look.
Yeah, well, because that's what it's done a few times. Is like I've had a couple of overloads, and it's been partly because of the concrete. Like you think the concrete's smooth, but a little groove will overload it.
Yep.
So we're getting those tidied up, and then just the odd cable winding or something like that comes up, pops up, and it's been nice in that it texts me. It says this is a problem. I can decide whether I need to address it now or later, and away we go, and kind of have a look in here. So that's
prioritize.
Yep, exactly. A couple of things that I'm less good on. One is power management. And this is more because I don't know what I'm looking at yet. Okay. But it is hooked up to the panel.
Yep.
What's it doing?
So this is our prevention module. So what it's doing is measuring neutrality of the amperage coming in and out of that panel. Right? So if there's 200 amps coming in, there should be 200 amps going out. If it's reading 199 going out, then you've got amperage going to ground, right? So that's signaling that something is going wrong in your electrical grid within the barn, right? So it's tracking that minute by minute, and it's graphing it like this. So we can see in the last 24 hours here, right, it's been up into that 0.3 amp to ground, and then sometime in the middle of the night here, about 3:30 a.m., it goes back almost to neutral, and then starts coming back out of that, right? So we talked about that before. It's kind of funny because that correlates to your temperature, right? So most likely it was...
That graph looks exactly like the temperature.
Yeah, so your temperatures, your barn temperature cooled off, your stir fans were running, they're running down to about 16 Celsius, so it's a pretty good signal that one of the motors here may have something a little bit off, right?
Yeah,
so you're seeing a little bit of noise. It's nothing that's really jumping, it's nothing that's shorting out per se, right? It's not going above that threshold, right? The threshold being 0.5, so you're not getting an alarm if that starts to go above. But it does tell you if the electrician's here, maybe have a look, right? They could put a meter on it and figure out if something's just a little bit off.
Yeah. Oh, that's neat to know. So, and it'll be handy to know, I think, like, you know, everything's new now. It won't be new forever, and motors sometimes fail.
Yeah.
This probably catches it before I do.
Yeah, it's meant to be a proactive solution, right? So with Maximus, if we're running a motor, we're able to set up minimum and maximum amperage for that to run. So if it's a feed motor or something like that, and it goes beyond its threshold of say 6, we're already gonna shut it off and notify you, right? But in the case that we're not running the barn, this is the sort of input that would tell you there's a critical error that could be happening. Time to go have a look.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's also that, you know, proactive. It's livestock. If something goes wrong, it's going to be Friday afternoon or on a holiday weekend, right? You're not able to go grab
time.
parts.
Yep.
So if you know that something's been trending, you can be more prepared. Get those parts on order, right? So
be ready to replace them then.
Every combine, right? Ready to go. Still waiting
until you use it. That's what I've found. That once you start using equipment, it breaks.